Good kitty. Do you want to stay here for the whole time? Come on, get back on, get back on, come on. You smell good. And when he smells good, it's like, I think he was laying on my clean laundry. So he smells like clean laundry. Are you laying on my laundry? Ready?
Okay, try.
Okay. Hey everyone, I'm Claire Saffitz. I'm here in my kitchen with Felix, and I have in front of me a list of questions because it's time for another episode of Claire-ified. So today I am talking a little lower because I'm trying to get Felix to stay here so we can have some quality time. I have some viewer-sourced questions about baking, problems, troubleshooting. I'm going to answer them today. Should we try to do the whole episode like this?
Just wanted you to know I'd like to ask a question. Something's bugging me, been on my mind. Sure be great if you clarify.
We have a kitchen. It's so exciting. It's 95% done. I have a countertop. We can cook. I have a trash can. I have a dishwasher. And now is the time that I'm settling in, starting to get everything out of boxes, that we've been storing away during this whole process, and really trying to make this a functional space where I can cook, shoot video, and just enjoy, because it's really beautiful. Archie's wants to be in the mix. Right, kitty? This is how, when I'm at my desk, he sits. He'll come and hang out with me. Thank you to everyone who submitted a question. I actually really love answering people's baking questions because sometimes it's an easy enough answer that can really make a big difference. So let's start. This first question is from Zainab. Zainab writes, "Hi Claire, I'm such a huge fan of your show and book. Thank you. My question on baking would be how to successfully scale down recipes to make smaller batches. Often when I simply have the ingredients, I find the end result doesn't come out as good as the original batch quantity. Any tips?" This is a really, really great question. Stay. Good kitty. If you're creaming together, let's say you're doing a cookie recipe and you're creaming together 2 sticks of butter and a cup of sugar in a mixer, and you scale down so you do 1 stick of butter and a half cup sugar, the size of the mixer isn't changing. And so it might be that the smaller quantity whips less effectively in that mixer, and maybe you don't have the same kind of texture that you're achieving. So there are ways in which because you're not also scaling down the cookware or the bowl or that kind of thing, that there can be a difference in the outcome based on the method. Okay, bye Felix. No, come here. Come here. Okay, fine. All right, that was gonna be hard to do the whole video that way anyway. Now go away. There are lots of variables that change a little bit when you have a recipe because you're just dealing with less stuff. I would say think about the processes that are happening, if it's about creaming or if it's about the depth of something that you're baking in. You make sure that you're scaling down the vessel if it's baked in a 13x9 pan and you're having it, go ahead and bake it in an 8x8 because you want to have everything be proportionate, not just the ingredients. Elizabeth's question is, "I swear I follow directions correctly, but my bakes never come out how they are supposed to. I blame my oven. Is that a thing? Can an oven be the reason for baking disasters?" Elizabeth, I have great news. Yes, it can be your oven. I've experienced this a lot myself. People's ovens and the way that the heat is sort of radiates and transfers, and the size is a huge variable in baking. It's something I think about all the time. I wish I could test it in 5 different ovens, but I can't. Your oven could spike, it could fluctuate, it could have huge temperature drops and temperature swings. That's normal. That happens in a lot of types of ovens. And then with cookware, or with bakeware rather, same thing. You could follow a recipe perfectly, but you could still have your cake come out burned on the outside and kind of underdone in the inside if you're using a dark coated nonstick pan. So those are things to avoid. Use light colored bakeware. I like anodized aluminum. Get an oven thermometer. You can place a couple different thermometers in different zones or move it around, and then you'll know sort of the back left is a cold zone, the front right is a hot zone, that kind of thing. Rachel Lauren asks, "Why do my cookies always spread even if I chill them overnight and follow the recipe exactly?" Great question. Your cookies could be spreading because maybe you're baking them on a silicone baking mat and not on parchment paper or just on the pan itself. Things baked on silicone tend to spread more, so it might be because it's just so slippery. There really isn't much for it to grip. It just kind of slides across the silicone. So if that's the case, try switching to parchment paper. It might also be that your oven is a little bit hot. The hotter you bake cookies, the more that they'll spread. And that's because you're melting the butter in the cookies really, really quickly, and the cookies are just kind of like flatten out. If you bake them at a lower temperature, that process happens more slowly, and then they set, and then you have a cookie that like maintains a little bit more of its shape. Jason asks, where should I start as a college student who's overwhelmed with options but is new to baking? Really good question. I think it can be like a little intimidating to know where to start, but I would say let your tastes guide you where you want to go. For me, it's like really kind of like classic, right down the middle kinds of things, like a brownie or a chocolate chip cookie or like a caramel sauce or a plain, you know, vanilla butter cake, that kind of thing. So I like starting with those kinds of like standard bearer recipes that are like huge crowd pleasers. Everybody loves them. Those things are kind of elemental, and like it's a good way to learn the fundamentals, but they're not complicated either. All right, Joshua asks, hi Claire, how are the chickens? Love from Canada. Thank you. The chickens are doing great, and the silkies are like my favorite thing ever. And they've gotten nice and like kind of plump. She like won't eat our drink if you don't take her out. There you go. Sitting on one perfect egg, although this isn't hers because it's big. Silky, come here, Silky. Hi. Sydney's question is, hi Claire, I was wondering if it really is worth it to buy more expensive sugars and flours at the grocery store. Like, do they really make a difference in the final product? I think it depends on what you're making. Like sometimes I buy organic sugar, but a lot of times I just buy like the stuff that comes in the bag. It's like the, you know, the like grocery store brand. It doesn't really matter. Flour I think is different. Flour is a different story. I like to source like a really nice, beautiful, sort of like freshly milled flour if I can, when I think that that's going to make a really big difference. So that's recipes where like the flavor of the flour is a really important component. If you're making any kind of bread, that's definitely an example of a time where you want to like, I would splurge on the more expensive flour, because that is essentially, I mean, it's like one of only 4 ingredients. I mean, 3 really. It's like yeast, flour, water, salt. So the fewer the ingredients, the more it matters. But when it comes to sugar, I think like what you want is consistency. Vinny C said, Claire Bear, big fan of your work. Says 2 questions. How's the shoot going? It's going great. It's just me and Cal today. And when will you shoot a batch of episodes down in Austin, Texas? I don't know, Vinny. When someone gives us the invite. Emily asks, what's your favorite easy dessert for when you want something sweet but don't want to spend more than 10 minutes preparing? Okay, I would say panna cotta. It is truly like a 10-minute prep dessert. It's so easy. Panna cotta is an Italian dessert. It means cooked cream, but really, I mean, it's not really cooked. It's like a gelatin dessert. So all you do is heat up like the base, which is dairy, you know, a little bit of sweetened dairy. It could be like sugar or honey or whatever. You could do it all heavy cream, you could do milk, you could do half and half. I mean, there's like a million recipes online. You soften some gelatin, meaning you sprinkle some powdered gelatin over some cold water, you let it sit for 10 minutes so it hydrates, you melt the gelatin into the base, you pour it into glasses and you chill it. And 4 hours later you have panna cotta. And it's great with like macerated berries or other kinds of fruit. Stay tuned for my next book, which has some panna cotta in it. Last question is from Christy. Is there any person, chef/baker alive, that you would love to bake or cook with, and who would it be and what would you want to make? These questions are so, I find these questions really hard, but they're fun to think about. I would say Jacques Pepin is one, like just a really an icon of not just French cuisine and technique, but also of like as a food personality. It's just like one of the most charming personalities and an incredible teacher and a master technician, and like just everything rolled into this one package. He did a lot of cooking with Julia Child, who's like an important figure for me. So yeah, I would love to cook with Jacques and maybe make like something super, super French, like something very, very, maybe like blanquette de veau or something like that, where I could really see his passion and his experience and his like exquisite taste. So yeah, I always love reading and answering your questions on Dessert Person. If you have any, I'm reading what Vinny put at the end of the document, which is if you have any questions about blank, let me know in the comments below. But like, what is it? What's the next one? Maybe, oh, you guys, I was gonna say holiday baking, but I forgot what month it was. Harris, what should the next one be about, topic-wise?
How do you keep cats off of countertops or unwanted space?
No, Harris, this is questions that I answer, not like questions I have.
No, I meant like maybe everybody would contribute like how they do it. But I see.
No, that doesn't make sense. The other way around. I need to know the answer.
Fast, simple,
yeah,
approachable desserts. You have a lot to say on that, don't you?
Yeah, but you're not understanding.
Now.
Yeah, so what? Never mind. This is thank you. That's.
I'm just messing.
It wasn't that helpful. That doesn't help. I always enjoy answering your questions. It definitely leads to like interesting avenues and explanations and really gets to like the sort of core principles of baking, which I'm always interested in and always exploring. So thank you. If you have any other sort of general baking questions, or it could be about like something really specific, whatever it is, something that's tripping you up in the kitchen, we could say pastry, like, you know, we're going to be entering like prime summer baking season where I feel like there's going to be a lot of pies in people's futures, pies or tarts or that kind of thing. So you have any specific questions about that, let me know, and maybe we'll do another kind of like more subject-focused episode of Claire-ified. But if not, just drop your sort of basic, I need burning baking questions in the comment section below. And thank you so much for watching another episode of Dessert Person, and don't forget to like and subscribe.